Good afternoon. It's afternoon in Britain. It's very hot and sunny, so I'm wearing my summer gear. And I wanted to crack straight into it. So I'm going to talk about rejection handling today. I don't know if this is a good time for a Periscope or not, because I think people in the States it's a little bit early. But so what, because I'm going to put this up on YouTube as well. So it's a little bit of a experiment, because I want to try doing some live stuff and then uploading it to YouTube. So anyway, let's see how it goes. So basically, a guy contacted me called Nabil. Now, he is based in New York City, and he sent me an email and he said, "Greetings, Troy. First and foremost of all, I want to thank you for putting out so much good information on YouTube. That's how I got to know you. So check out my YouTube channel. It's awesome. I've been following it for a while. It's been awesome. I've learned a lot from it. I'm a beginner in NYC, and I've been getting a lot of brutal rejections recently. So if I approach 10 girls, I would get at least 4 who would reject me. So my mind begins to linger on those rejections and way more than all the good interactions that I get." And then he says, "Please be kind enough to put out a video on rejections. It would help me. I'm sure it would help a lot of other folks as well. Thank you, Troy. You are amazing." So cheers, Nabil, thank you very much for that. So yeah, I mean, rejection handling is sort of at the core. Try and get comfortable here. Rejection handling, it really is at the core of all of the sort of dating advice stuff that you get, but it's really also at the core of sales advice and just advice in general about human interactions. You know, we have to be prepared to take rejection, and really you want to get to a point where a good day is a day where you've experienced at least some rejection, because if you have, what that means is that you've been putting yourself out there and you've been going for something that you want. A day that you get no rejection is a day basically that you just sat in your room and you haven't done anything, because if you don't put your head above the parapet, then you're never going to get rejected, but at the same time you're not going to sort of get any good results either. So what we have to do is to have a bit of a mindset shift, so that we start to see rejection actually as a good thing and as a desirable thing, rather than as something to be feared. And this goes for dating, it goes for approaching girls, whether it's in a nightclub situation, in coffee bars, or whatever it is. But equally, it also goes for sales, because every time you try to sell something, you put it before your potential customer, and you've got the risk that they're going to say, "Actually, thank you, but that doesn't look very good, I don't want it." And it also exists in social situations as well, because you might reach out to somebody that you want to be friendly with, or you want to build an alliance with, and it's possible that they're going to say no, it's possible that they're going to turn down that opportunity. And that's just part of the game, that is just part of the game. Now for me, I was always very, very fearful of rejection for the longest time. When I was a teenager, when I was when I was a young adult, I was really, really scared of rejection. And the reason for that was I had incredibly low self-esteem. And I like to say at the time, it wasn't even like low self-esteem, it was like actual self-hatred. I actually despised myself. I thought I was terrible, I thought I was worthless, I thought that, I didn't deserve anything good to happen to me, and nothing good would ever happen to me. And so whenever I got a rejection, whether it was from a girl or anything else, I would just think that is confirmation of what I already think about myself, which is that I am a worthless piece of shit. So what I had to learn to do, and it took me a long, long time, it doesn't need to take you as long, is to get over that thinking and actually to flip that thinking on its head. Now, a couple of things happened to me in my younger life which really helped me to sort of change my mindset in this area. One of them was that I got a job in sales. Now, it's sort of funny to get a job in sales where you're basically an introvert and you're scared of rejection and you're kind of a bit scared to talk to people, because those are precisely the things that you need to do in order to be successful. But I got a job in sales because I'd left university. I was looking for something that was a bit better paid than the kind of bar work I was doing. My father had been in sales. I was kind of interested in sales. I had that sort of entrepreneurial spark in me, so I was interested in it, and so I went into it as a career, and I went into various sort of dodgy telephone sales jobs. I even did a bit of door-to-door selling at one point, and at first I was terrified. I would get on the phone in a telephone sales job. The boss would say, "Right, you've got to get on the phone, you've got to make 100 calls, and you've got to sell whatever the product was to this particular business. Now, I would be absolutely, as I say, terrified of that, because I would take the rejections even for the product, which had nothing to do with like me as a person. I would take those rejections to be some sort of reflection on my own self-worth. So I would phone up and say, hey, this is Troy, I'm calling from XXX Advertising Limited. Would you like to place an advert to do so-and-so, whatever it was, whatever the scam was at that time. And the person at the business would say, who does this? How'd you get that number? Fuck off. Put the phone down. And I would feel terrible, because I'd be like, oh my God, they've rejected me. I've been rejected. They have seen into my soul somehow through the phone. They've seen Troy Francis, and they've said, you are not worthy. You are not worth my time. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I don't want to have any business arrangements with you or anything you want to sell. You're worthless. Get out of my face. That's how I took that rejection. Now, of course, as we know, in terms of a dating situation, it's even worse, because you talk to a girl and you say, hey, actually, I think you're really nice. I would like to take you for a drink. And she says, thanks, but no, and walks off. Then you feel even worse, because that, it seems to us, is a direct reflection on your worth as a man. So you're not good looking enough, you're not tall enough, you're not interesting enough, you're not funny enough, you're not charismatic enough, you're not sexy enough, you're not rich enough, you haven't worked out enough, you're not jacked enough, blah, 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 blah. All of the list of your failures, which you've already got in your head, because most people in their own heads have a pretty negative self-talk about themselves, are suddenly confirmed by that one girl or that one customer that you called in the telephone sales situation saying no. And so the problem that you've got is that, it's not even so much the actual rejection itself, because maybe you spoke to that girl and you asked her on a date and, you weren't even that bothered about it, really. You just thought she was quite pretty and it'd be nice to get to know her more. And she says no, but her rejection makes you feel terrible, because you've already in your own head got a very, very negative idea of yourself. So, and intellectually as well, right? We all understand. We all know that there are billions of people on the planet. We all know that there are billions of business opportunities out there. So, if I walk out and I spoke to a girl and then I get rejected, then, logically, I should just think, well, that's fine, but there's 7 billion people on the planet, or 8 billion people, or however many it is now. So, really, that is less than statistically relevant. It's meaningless. It means nothing. But of course, that's not how we see it, because it's a very interpersonal thing. And as I say, it kind of gives the negative side of our brain an excuse to feel bad about ourselves. And sometimes we actually quite like feeling bad about ourselves, because we sort of stay stuck, or we can't. I don't know, like, if this has been the case for you, but for me, there have been times when I've actually got off on my own melancholy. I've sort of, you can almost wallow in feeling unhappy. And it also, interestingly, it absolves you of responsibility as well. Because if I sit there and I think, well, I'm a worthless piece of shit, I'm unlovable, I'm never going to have a good relationship, I'm never going to, amount to anything, boo-hoo, woe is me, then what that means is that actually I don't have to do anything. I don't have to try, because the game has already been lost. And I think this is what I was doing when I was younger. I was convincing myself that the game was already lost. And actually that's quite a lazy thing to do, because as I say, it absolves you of all responsibility. Then you can just say, well, okay, fine, fuck it. I'm just going to sit here and do nothing, because I'm never going to win anyway, so what? And actually, in the majority of cases, and I can almost guarantee in your case, Nabil, that is a very worthless way of thinking about things, because actually, for a start, you're saying of the 10 girls that you do approach, you're saying 4 of them reject you, but that means that 6 of them are actually, being receptive to the fact that you've approached, which is a fantastic thing. You're actually saying a majority of them are being receptive to you, and yet you are choosing to focus on the 4 who said no. And can you start to see how that is a really bad way of looking at it? Because what you're basically doing is you are allowing the 4 who've come to you with a negative response to sort of emphasize, or to kind of reinforce that negative idea that you have of yourself in your head, that probably most of us, or nearly all of us, carry around from childhood, this idea that we're perhaps not good enough, or we're not this enough, we're not that enough, we're not, and all of it is bullshit. It's all in your head, because what the market is telling you is that 6 out of 10 girls that you speak to actually are favourably, have a favourable opinion of you, which is great, which is absolutely fantastic, So yes, I think in terms of rejection, there's a couple of things from this. Firstly, we need to sort out the inner struggles that we're dealing with. We need to deal with all of the inner game stuff. Now, I know inner game, as it's called, which is basically the idea of sorting out your internal struggles, your internal difficulties. It kind of gets a bad name because it can be seen as a bit woo-woo and as a bit hippie-ish and as a bit psychobabbly. But the reality is, it is really bloody important. So what you need to do is firstly to have a look at why you have some of these negative beliefs about yourself. And then what you need to do is to start to flip them on their head. And you don't even need external validation for this. So I can sit there thinking, I'm incredibly ugly, I'm never going to find a girl who likes me, I am going to, whatever. But I don't have to think that. Somebody said you look like Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode. That is awesome. Who said that? I can't see. That's fucking awesome. I love Depeche Mode. I'm a massive Dave Gahan fan. That comment has made my day. Where was I? Yeah, you need to start to look at the underlying issues for why you feel bad about yourself, but then you need to start to flip it on its head. So I could choose to sit here and think, well, I'm incredibly ugly. I don't deserve to meet anybody nice. I don't deserve to have a good career. I don't deserve to sell lots of copies of my new book, etc., etc. Or, equally, I could choose to think the opposite, because nobody's going to stop me. I could sit here and think, actually, I'm fucking awesome. I'm amazing looking. I'm fucking brilliant. Girls love me. I'm going to sell millions of copies of my new book. Everybody fucking loves my Twitter feed. My YouTube channel's going to blow up. I am fucking awesome. And I can think all of that. And as I say, nobody's going to stop me from thinking that, because nobody can get inside my head and tell me not to. And whether or not those things are ostensibly true, or whether or not those things turn out to have a basis in reality or not, is almost secondary to me having the mindset. Because if I have the mindset that those things are true, then I'm going to get better outcomes than I would if I don't, if I think badly about myself. So yes, you want to work on yourself, and yes, you want to get to the psychological root of perhaps why maybe you feel bad about certain things, and you can do counselling, you can speak to people online, you can speak to friends, loads and loads of stuff, read self-help books, loads of stuff you can do. But even more than that, even more simply, I would just start to just flip around the beliefs. So start doing affirmations in the morning before you go out. Just think, I'm fucking awesome, I'm fucking awesome, I'm fucking awesome, I'm fucking awesome, I'm fucking awesome. I'm incredibly good looking, I'm incredibly good looking, I'm incredibly good looking, I'm incredibly good looking, I'm incredibly good looking. Repeat these things to yourself so that they get stuck in your mind. So what you're doing is you're undoing the kind of negative programming that you're putting in there anyway. And the other thing about rejection, as I said at the beginning, is you've got to start to see this as a game, and you've got to start to see rejection as being part of the game. And what rejection means, if anything else, if nothing else, is that you are in the game. So if you're getting rejected, that is good because you're in the game. If you're not getting rejected, then you're not taking enough action in whatever area of your life it is, and you should be doing more because you are probably stagnating and you are probably not getting the results that you could get if you were taking risks and you were getting more rejections. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed that. Please do give me comments below. Sign up for my email list, I'll leave the link below. If you have another question for me that you'd like me to answer in this format, then let me know. Drop me a message, send me a DM, put a tweet under this, whatever, a comment, and I will do my best to answer it in the next Periscope. Okay, bye-bye.